You are listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
Victory is not an abstract concept. It is the equation that sits at the heart of strategy. Victory is the will to expend lives and munitions in attack, overmatching the defender's reserves of manpower and ordnance. As long as my Iron Warriors are willing to pay any price in pursuit of victory, we shall never be defeated.
Hey everybody, this is Cult of Lore.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. Yeah.
We like it.
It's good.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This is
Get all the
Cult
key
of
points.
Lore.
Cult of, I don't think that's no.
Cult of Lore.
Cult of Lore.
Oh, what's up, guys? I'm Ben,
I'm Jerry.
I'm Eric.
and today we're covering Perturabo, the Primarch of the Iron Warriors.
Yes.
Yes.
So, had any of you, Jerry, you're excluded from this, I guess, because you don't know anything about 40K before you came into this. But
Pretty much.
Eric, what did you know about Perturabo coming into this?
Not much of anything. I know that he had a pretty tight relationship with Fulgrim. Is that correct? And they killed each
Magnus.
other?
No,
Okay.
you're thinking Ferrus Manus.
Oh, I am thinking of Ferrus Manus. Yes. Damn it. So clearly not much
Okay.
prior. Yeah.
Well, obviously, I had heard of him before. He was not one of my favorites. On a cursory glance, I think he comes off very bratty and kind of bitchy. But you know that your opinion of him changes as you go along. I think somewhat. I didn't fully come around, but I did end up liking him a lot more than I did when we started. So
Petulance and pride seems to be a big takeaway for a lot of people on Perturabo. From
Yeah.
what I've seen.
yeah, petulance definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. We'll get into it. Let's
All right.
start with his story. Jerry, you're handling where he started.
Yeah.
So let's back to another Primarch baby.
Yeah. As we know, the forces of chaos spread the Primarch babies around.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
Spread them around wherever, to and fro.
On toast.
Toast.
Universal toast. And Perturabo landed on Olympia.
Yeah, is it Greek planet?
Seems to be a very Greek-y sort of theme.
It's made up
Yeah.
of city-states, which is,
Oh, yeah, very
how
Greek.
Greece was organized, Athens and Sparta.
Right.
There's not a lot of information on how he was found as a baby.
No. Everything that I found, basically, he formed his memories halfway climbing up a cliff.
Yeah, so the place was ran by, the city-state that he landed in was ran by a tyrant guard, or a tyrant.
Called Damocles?
Demikos.
Damocos. There we go.
Demikos. And the name of the city was Lokos.
Locos.
Lokos.
Okay.
And
Yeah, very Greek sounding. Yeah.
Demikos started hearing these stories of this boy that was wandering around and not only fighting things but he was also making things, very artisanal things.
Uh-huh.
He was really good at crafting stuff.
Which is interesting because Perturabo doesn't seem to remember any of this. Because his first memories are climbing up this cliff where I think the guards find him, right?
Yeah, the guards find him there, and so they bring him to Damocles. So I'll get to the cliff later.
Mm-hmm.
But Damocles tested him with fighting and puzzles
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
and he was able to overcome all the fighting and the puzzles. And so he was offered a place in court in exchange for, being able to be trained in martial prowess and the scholarly resources of the leader there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think this had a pretty large impact on Perturabo early on because everybody he met basically was being brought to test him. It was never a genuine interaction, I don't think.
Oh,
Except
okay.
for the sister. Damocles' sister, or Damocles' daughter, which ends up being his sister.
Okay.
She's the one that chews his ass out later.
Right. Yeah, but she's the only one who seems to have approached him with any sort of like genuine
I think so.
person-to-person
Yeah,
interaction.
more or less. I mean, but I don't know. He's also kind of an ass because like he doesn't seem to understand how like first of all, he crows about how different he is from everybody while he's, being tested. But then he doesn't understand why people react to him differently.
Okay.
Well, it's because you're different, you fucking gigantic baby. And I mean that literally.
Like, what are you, 5 right now?
Yeah, and he's huge. Like even compared to some of the other Primarchs, he seems to have grown larger and faster than the others.
Oh, okay. So he's one of the bigger Primarchs?
Seems to be.
Wow.
Yeah, he's kind of like on a fast track of growth.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, even compared to Primarchs.
Wow.
He because of he's kind of treated like a tool almost by these people that have taken him in,
Yeah.
and it kind of he's very distant and does not show affection to his adoptive father, even when he is there to be
To show
effective.
affection too. Yeah.
Yeah, although it is questionable how legitimate and like good-willed his attempts are.
Oh, the
To-
fathers.
the stepfather.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Perturabo will never acknowledge him as father.
Gotcha.
It's just not what he does.
Huh.
And they also, all the Primarchs inherently know that their father is not a person. It's the Emperor. They don't know that it's the Emperor, but they know it's not whoever's in front of them.
Gotcha.
And then as soon as all of them know, the minute they see him, no matter what guise the Emperor seems to take, whether it's this old man or a person in robes, whatever, they instantly know the minute they see him that it's him.
Yeah, Perturabo especially was very quick with that
Yeah.
because he kind of had sussed out that he was very different from these people that he was around. And one of the things that led to that was when he was scaling that cliff and he got to the top and he looked up and he saw this nebulous maelstrom in the stars.
Yeah.
And then he
no.
asked the guards if they could see it. And they were like, no, we don't see anything up there. So then that initiated his initial mistrust of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not having the same kind of experience I am.
Yeah.
Or they're lying to
Or
me.
they're lying to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think for some reason, he initially thought they're lying.
Okay.
And so that thing that he saw, that maelstrom in the stars, is the Eye of Terror.
The Eye of Terror. And he can see it no matter where he is in the galaxy. If whatever planet he's standing on, if he looks up, it's there.
Oh.
And he can feel it judging him and watching him.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
an emotional presence.
Okay. So I had come across that and I thought it was more due to his, like, because he has an eidetic memory.
Yeah.
I thought it was more due to that, but it sounds like something a little bit more than what I thought.
So each of the Primarchs, because they were touched by chaos, they have some chaos corruption. It's how Sanguinius got his wings. It's why Kurz's foresight was locked entirely on the one specific events happening. They had corrupted his foresight.
Oh,
It was supposed to be much more like Sanguinius's, probably.
right. Oh, interesting.
Or
Okay.
perhaps it might even be more aimed towards like being able to read people's minds and judging what they have done, because Kurz was obviously designed to be some sort of judge,
Right.
head of the justice system. As funny as that seems now, like we don't know what a non-corrupted Kurz would have been like.
Right. Is that also kind of where like the Volfin came in for the?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the corruption of the Canis
Wow.
Helix.
Okay.
Yeah, they all have different. The Thousand Sons heavy psychic abilities along with the flesh changes because of that corruption. So Perturabo's seems. Hi, Jepper.
It's been a while since she's popped in.
She just has this way of knowing whenever we're doing something. It's uncanny. Like, you people listening will have no idea how on point she'll become. Those quotes you guys like at the beginning? Yeah, she fucks those up all the time. She'll be dead asleep on the couch, and then the minute we plug in to record, I got to bark at something.
Yep.
Or I got to chew on a bone.
Today it's the mailman.
It's the mailman.
Today it's the mailman.
Or I have to walk across the floor like I'm clomping elephants. Or I have to drink water really fucking loud, just in the background.
Oh, yeah, you can hear her drinking water through the whole house.
Yipperdo, are you done?
Are you done?
Hey.
Gypto.
Oh, no, there's a cat.
Okay, we're done.
Okay.
Okay.
She lay down.
Anyway, where were we?
Perturabo.
Eye of Terror.
Yes.
Chaos corruption among the Primarchs.
Yes, there we go. So Perturabo's, for whatever reason, I wonder if it was to breed that paranoia in him. He can see the Eye of Terror wherever he is, and he can feel its emotional state, I guess. Is a good... I don't know.
It calls to me.
Yeah, but almost the direct opposite.
Yeah. It's like, fuck you, Perturabo.
Although...
It's bullying him.
Although I would challenge Perturabo if there was an eye he had ever seen look at him that he didn't feel was judging him.
That's true, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You get the sense that he's very set apart from everyone because of his intelligence, and he's physically different from everyone and never seems to connect with anybody.
No.
So he ends up studying siege techniques on Olympia. That's their sort of their specialty.
Okay.
And he chooses the name Perturabo from an ancient language that he susses out from Old Earth.
Oh.
He's also obsessed with Leonardo da Vinci.
Interesting. So the Leonardo da Vinci.
They call him the Firenze polymath, but yeah.
That's a neat name. I won't retain that, but that's a cool name.
But yeah, it is meant to be actually Leonardo da Vinci.
Do we know why he chose the name Perturabo?
Well, it doesn't say explicitly, but like in Latin, Perturabo means I shall endure.
So there's a part where on Olympia where when a man becomes a man, it's like he gets to pick a new name. And there's a ceremony for Perturabo when he does that. And they really pressure him because Perturabo is not an Olympian name. So they pressure him to pick an Olympian name. And then at the ceremony, he's like, listen, my name, he goes, I know what my name is. I know what it's always been. I know, like, it's programmed into him that his name is Perturabo.
Okay.
Yeah, because they wanted him to take a name from like Damicos' family.
Yeah.
Because that's who his patron was.
Right. Really solidify him into the family.
Yeah. Well, it was also meant to be a way for Damicos to adopt him officially. Be like, you're not my stepson anymore.
You're truly my son, which I'm sure probably had a lot of political potential for him.
Yeah.
For sure.
I am sure.
There is something that could be said for having a Primarch in the family. Sure. Yeah.
Well, he, since they're in a city-state at war with multiple city-states, Perturabo decides to join in the fight with those city-states and starts fighting his adoptive father's, in quotation marks, enemies.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah. Which then makes it very, very one-sided.
Yes.
As Primarchs tend to do.
Right.
Yeah. So they get victory after victory, and he quickly rises in the ranks.
As Primarchs tend to do.
As Primarchs tend to do.
As they do. But while he's doing that at the same time, he's also making a bunch of blueprints and inventions for stuff like new machines and architecture and production methods, medicine and astronomy. He's like a polymath.
Yeah, new water filtration systems,
Wow.
growing crops. But he keeps them all locked in his room.
Really?
He doesn't spread them out.
He wasn't spreading them?
No. They're all locked. They're all in his room. They're all rolled up, and he doesn't share them with anybody. And his excuse is, oh, well, nobody wants to see them. Motherfucker, nobody knows they exist.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
No.
Like there's a scene where his stepfather comes up to his room, which is up in the tower of his castle, and it doesn't have like heating or cooling or anything. So in the winter it's ice cold, and in the summer it's blazing hot. And he's like trying to get Perturabo to engage with him and then talk about this naming ceremony. And then they get into this big long diatribe about Perturabo's existence, because that's all Perturabo wants to chide him for is about how like, oh, you just used me for this, that, and this, that. And the father's like, well, you have all these wonderful things that you're doing. He's like, nobody cares about him. And he just starts tearing them up, just starts ripping them apart and breaking them. He's like, nobody cares about this or this. You never cared about this. It's like, dude, they're all locked up in your room.
Huh.
Give them out to the people that can build that shit and get it to going. But he never does. Never does.
It's one of those people that just kind of creates his own issues, huh?
And there's a quote in one of the other books. I remember because I've been reading his stuff back to back to back, so it was fresh in my head. But there's a line in one of his other books, which I think sums up why he never did that. And it's because he's talking to Fulgrim, and he talks about this theater that he built. We'll get into that. I'll get into that more. But they disagree on what's to happen with it. And Perturabo says, well, the reality of things is that reality never matches your dreams.
Mm.
And I think Perturabo designed these things, and he knew that you could design them to be perfect, but they never would be perfect. And because of that, because they wouldn't be used exactly the way he wanted, exactly the way he had designed, he would rather they just not be invented at all. And then he would rather just blame people for something that he can foresee that they would do in the future rather than giving them the opportunity to do it.
I see.
What he really wants to say is not nobody cares about these things, is that nobody will care about these things. But if he says it that way, then he's already admitting that he's not even giving it a chance.
Right. Yeah. Which can't be done
Right.
for him.
Yeah,
It can't be his fault.
Exactly. That's scene, him talking to his father up in that just solidified that for me, because he just starts wrecking all this stuff that all of these people could use that he's clearly never shared. And it's just like, well, then what good are they?
Yeah.
And what good is you being mad about it?
That's the real thing. Because, sometimes it's like, no, I understand that you may not want to share something because it's precious to you or whatever, but that's then your fault, not the world's fault.
Right. Anyway.
So through all of these victories and stuff, it's mostly they're dominating everyone. Not really making peace, just being like, we're stronger. So
please,
just we're in charge.
Just don't.
So that invites a lot of assassination attempts at him, like poisoners and stuff.
Okay.
And the other city-state leaders, were trying to take him down because, if you could take him down, then Damikos would not be quite as high on the ladder.
Yeah.
So guess what the side effect of that is? So because there's all these assassination attempts, Perturabo then goes, well, you see, I can't trust people. They're all underhanded. They're all out to get me.
It just solidifies his mistrust of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Confirmation bias. Good Lord. Petulant. No kidding. No wonder people came away with that petulant interpretation of him.
Yeah. That's not all there is, though.
Right.
We'll save that for the end. But in his early days, there's a lot of that.
Gotcha.
So the Emperor shows up.
As he does.
It's the Great Crusade times. And he's like, you're my son and you need to come with me.
We're going to make the stars great again.
And then Perturabo's like, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. It's like all these people. They're just, I don't understand how am I not king?
This makes more sense to me. So he goes to Terra to study and meet his brothers and learn. And he pairs up with Magnus to study a lot of mankind's history.
Yeah.
They end up being like a slight,
friendship there. As friends as fucking Primarchs tend to get.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I do hope with the Lion coming back, and him and Gilliman. I really hope there's an actual bond that starts to form. I would like to see Primarchs actually be friends.
That'd be nice. Maybe they wouldn't get so angry all the time.
Maybe a little more stable.
But it's funny to hear him talk about Magnus. They disagree wildly on the substance, right? Like Perturabo is completely anti-psych or anti-magic. Magnus is obviously not. But they both really enjoy the fact that the other likes to study and likes history and likes books.
Right.
And Perturabo has that same thing with Vulcan. He has a strong respect for Vulcan because they both like to build and create things.
They're both crafters, artisans.
Yeah, and there's a moment where Perturabo's going through a bunch of toys that Vulcan had made. And Fulgrim is basically making fun of them. He's like,
Oh.
well, I'd have figured he was building some giant hammer or something. And Perturabo is just like, well, you clearly don't know anything about Vulcan. He's like, you clearly don't know anything about him.
Aw.
And then proceeds to smash Fulcrum's face into the table.
Oh, my God.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
That was so satisfying to read. He literally picks up a broken toy. He's like, it's broken. Listen, you can hear the gears grinding. And Fulcrum's like, huh? And leans in. And then Perturabo just drops the toy, grabs a handful of his hair, and just smashes his face into the table.
I like that.
I did too. I was like, that's right. Get that pretty boy, motherfucker. Just in that book, that Fulcrum was so fucking annoying. That book, when he finally does wig out on him, I was so happy. Oh, so satisfying. Smug little prick.
Fulcrum reminds me of like the Dark Elves a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kind of looks like, doesn't he have white hair?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He does look like it is strange that there aren't Drukari. There probably are Drukari that have fallen to Slaanesh that ride around with Fulgrim.
That would make sense. I could see that.
Dark Eldar, I can see it.
An uneasy alliance.
Yeah.
Lots of leather.
So Perturabo, he's given command of the 4th Space Marine Legion.
The Iron Warriors.
Yes. He renames them the Iron Warriors. And mostly they recruit from Olympia.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough.
Primarch home planet.
What were they called beforehand?
Oh shit!
Stop.
They were the 4th Legion.
They were the 4th Legion. Duh.
It doesn't seem to have been named.
No kidding.
Not that I'm finding.
Weird.
Yeah, I was
mysteries
getting-
in Perturabo.
I was getting ready to answer you when I realized that in none of the books did I actually, and I read the one where he takes over basically, and it struck me that I had never actually.
If it's out there, please comment.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know what it is.
The 4th Space Marines before they were the Iron Warriors.
Yes, it's not known. The Dark Angels were the first. We don't know the Emperor's Children, the Iron Warriors, the White Scars were the Star Hunters. We know some of these now. Anyway, we won't get too sidetracked.
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Hey guys, Future Eric here. Ben informed me that there is a name for the 4th Legion prior to Perturabo coming along, but the name we have is kind of more of like a unofficial term, a slang term, or perhaps even taboo. It doesn't seem like they liked the name very much on an official basis. They were called the Corpse Grinders.
Carry on.
So when Perturabo is made the leader of the 4th Space Marine Legion, typically that's when a Primarch is made the ruler of their home planet.
Yeah.
Right? So that immediately made him ruler of Damikos,
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
who was the ruler of Olympia at the time.
Yeah. Thanks to Perturabo.
And so that probably gets under Damikos' skin a little bit. Not too happy about that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damikos.
Damikos. So he's disappointed by his legion's war record.
Oh no, they were the first Legion were called the Angels of Death.
Anyway.
See
Yeah.
what you did?
Sorry.
He was disappointed by the legion's war record, their doctrines, and their policies and practices. Yeah.
Okay.
Legion's like, all right. But
So a little slap on the wrist for him then?
no, he decides to do something. This is where it takes a dark turn for his legion. He decides decimation is how he will punish them for not being the best.
Before he even came along to show them the way, they should have just already been the best.
Yes, he was like, from my gene seed, you should already be better than this. I'm going to take 1 out of every 10 of you at random by lottery and have you killed by your brothers and decimated.
Yeah, we've only seen this one other time, and that was with Angron.
Angron did a decimation as well?
Yeah, he would, every time he would set the World Eaters onto a new planet, he gave them 24 hours to conquer the planet. If they couldn't do it within 24 hours, decimation.
That's right. I forgot about that. Wow. So he just he just did it all the time.
Yeah.
Perturabo, it sounds like it was just like, hey, what's up? I'm your dad. You guys suck. So
Yeah, and at least with, I mean, Angron did it more than once, but at least with Angron, it was like, no, there's a goal here. This is what we're doing. This is the thing we're trying. With Perturabo, he's just like, nah, I don't like your guys' records, so fuck you.
ooh,
Yeah.
gee whiz.
Right there established that he was going to be brutal
Yeah.
And uncaring.
and uncaring.
Wow. probably did not see them as sons so much after that. You're no son of mine.
I know Rabut Gilliman protested this. He was not a fan of this action.
No.
Okay,
And
points
he
for
is-
reboot.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's the Ultramarines Primarch, right?
Right. Yeah, I believe. Right. Yeah, Ultramarine.
Yes,
Primarch.
yes.
Yeah.
Papa Smurf.
Papa Smurf. Right.
Blue Boys. At some point, he gained favor with the Lords of Mars by doing a campaign.
Oh, well, I mean, that makes sense. His mechanical ability, I'm sure, got them
Pretty
ex-
impressed.
yeah, excited.
So in return, they also would help his legion with stuff.
Yeah. So they had a lot more gear, vehicles.
Oh, okay. Okay. This makes sense. Yeah.
There
this
were a
makes
few
sense.
legions that the Mechanicum really favored. Iron Hands being another one.
That seems to also make sense because they're also very,
Gadgety.
yeah.
Due to the brutal methods that he would use, it is believed that the Iron Warriors may have lost the most Marines during the Great Crusade.
Oh, okay.
Because they would just be, used as cannon fodder, just like strategically let them die over there, so we find out stuff about
How their
Oh,
defenses were. They also led them, I think, the top in deaths of Solar Auxiliary and other infantry troops,
Oh.
eventually they just started being given like criminal
penal legions.
legions
Yeah.
as their auxiliary troops because they were just
There was so much friendly fire from them that they would.
Well, they would literally just stack them in front of the other troops so they could just use up ammunition.
Oh, okay. Wow.
they're just
They just
brutally
needed-
wasting them.
They just needed meat. so
Yeah,
that they
or
could-
send them across large minefields, stuff like that.
Jeez, oh man.
Which would lead to their victory, but it would just countless losses and stuff, and also it would hurt morale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
fair
the
enough.
Krieg wasn't around yet.
Oh yeah, they would have loved that.
Oh yeah, the Krieg and the Iron Warriors would have gone together like love and marriage.
They'd have been like, oh yeah, we love Perturabo. Send us with him, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Perturabo would be like, these guys are fucking nuts. I can't. Listen, even I'm starting to find this a little strange.
I know. They'd even it's like, no, you guys keep all the tech and the toys. Just send us in.
Yeah, we don't need all that shit.
No.
Just
There's a
do
minefield. Let's run at it.
it. Outrun the mines.
I got $10 says I get across the other side before you do with both legs.
What is the imperial currency? Is it credits or
Oh.
So there is throne, I think, is the official currency.
Although there's probably hundreds of variations. Hey.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably?
And whether or not they take, I think it's called throne gelt is the term for it.
Huh.
Whether they take that or not depends on how close or far away you are from
From Terra.
Kind of like Star Wars is a lot like that too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, technically you are the Republic and we do take Republican credits, but I'm not taking them right now. So
Your credits are no good here.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So there are 3 or 4 that I know of,
Okay. Yeah.
but the throne, I think it's throne gelt, I believe is what it's
We'll
called.
be corrected in the comments if it's
I'm
not.
sure.
Oh,
Is-
Thrones. Yes.
Is the one that is accepted more widely than anything else.
Well, and as time goes on, the Iron Warriors start being used as a garrison legion.
Yeah.
They're placed in small numbers in remote garrison places. They're all spread out,
Okay.
and I think Perturabo feels like that's kind of insulting.
I feel like that would insult him. Yes.
Yeah, I think I read about one instance where there was a garrison of 10 Iron Warriors for a planet of 24 million
Oh, and it was their responsibility, just
Okay.
the 10 of them.
to keep the peace.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. That's kind of an unreasonable ask, even for.
it's possible that this was planned by Horus because he had become War Master
Oh.
and was trying to
so
possibly
division, perhaps.
Yes,
Okay.
so resentment in Perturabo.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
you know what else? Perturabo would accept any command or anything without question.
Yeah, he would not fight it. He would
No.
just listen.
Instead of being like, hey, I'm not sending 10 of my men to do this, he would be like, fine. And he would do it. And then be like, I can't believe they're should have 10 of my men.
Slowly simmer without
Yeah.
saying anything.
Yes.
Yeah. This guy kind of pisses me off.
So then there's a rebellion on Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-oh. Another blow to the pride.
Damikos is upset. He starts sowing rebellion against the Empire.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Upset upset is not the word for it.
Yeah.
Perturabo grabs the messenger and banes him over his knee, which I'm sure, you can imagine would not. I mean, the guy's basically...
Probably rip him in half.
Yeah, basically
Jesus.
ruptures the dude.
God. He exploded.
And I mean, the guy is peeing himself as he's telling him that this has happened because he
so
knows
he
he's
knows.
toast.
It's like, can't we just send a scroll?
I would just
Send an
I would
email?
send a
Yeah.
Vox,
a meeting
man.
that could have been an email.
Yeah. Hey, Perturabo, my lord, we have some bad news.
Hey.
Yes, I am across the galaxy.
Sending an astropathic message.
Yeah.
No, I won't tell you where I'm at.
So,
You've never met me.
And now you never will.
sign anonymous. So Perturabo goes to Olympia with his Iron Warriors to
Oh.
stamp out this rebellion.
Yeah. He's going to handle some business and restore peace.
I don't think that's his style.
Not really.
Damn it.
I mean, that's a
I
good thought.
Didn't think so.
Be cool if it was.
If it was his style, his planet never would have rebelled in the first place.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's fair.
So that ends with basically a genocide of the planet.
Yeah, he's basically exterminatus by boot and bolter.
Oh, that's brutal.
He goes to every city, every state, and he's like, "You will. I think it's 10,000. Kill 10,000, and if you don't, I'll come in and kill all of you."
He asks the city to kill 10,000 of their own.
Yeah,
Oh, my God. This guy is a brat.
which most of them don't do.
Right.
And because he wants to keep all of the stuff intact, he just has his men go and do it. So it's exterminatus by soldier instead of bombs or virus bombs or any of that crazy shit.
The buildings are more important to him than the people.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's where he, there is, we won't post it. It's really long. I won't read it. But there is a moment where his 80 or 90-year-old sister just rips into him like a line of pork. And not mean. She just basically lays out every single problem that he's ever had. And just an exacting clarity. And then she follows it up by saying, this is going to make you angry, but I think you are the biggest fool I have ever met. Which then causes him to strangle her to death.
Wow.
Yeah. He can't take any.
Let's just say he's a little sensitive to some criticism.
Yeah.
He thinks he's so, smart and is doing everything right.
Right.
And
to be
when you're
called
in
a
that
fool.
mindset.
Yeah. By any human, even if it is his sister, beloved or not.
He also feels like he garnishes undue criticism. So any criticism that he does get is undue.
Right. Of
He's
course.
like, I get so much criticism already. Why would you level this at me and just be cruel about it?
Just attacks the core of his ego.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And Angron gets a bad rap. Angron was innocent, by the way, if you haven't listened to that episode. He did nothing wrong.
Angron did nothing wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, not really.
So on Olympia, they get the news of the Horus Heresy on Istvan 3 and are given orders to go to Istvan 5.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, so that was right after he genocided his own home planet.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
He was, the smoldering fires had just gone to coals.
Wow.
When it was
The
time.
news came.
Yep.
Interesting.
So obviously Perturabo feels like the Emperor cannot forgive him for this. And so he feels like him and the Iron Warriors have no choice but to side with Horus in this. And Horus immediately, I will pull you into my breast and you will be given all the laurels and nobody will ever mistreat you. And I understand why you did what you did and all this other,
Oh my God.
So Perturabo's on his way. I believe he's actually on his way to Istvan 5. But also at the same time, the Emperor has, tapped Perturabo to help back up the loyalists that are going to take down
Right.
the Emperor's children, the Death Guard, the Word Bearers, and the Sons of Horus on Istvan 5. So he's on his way when the Lion has basically cracked open one of the vaults of the First. The Dark Angels have all of this ridiculous technology from the Dark Age of Terror because there was a large portion of time where they were the only ones.
Oh, I see.
So they have access to a lot of tech that the other legions don't have. And so for the siege, the Lion breaks out these two gigantic engines that are just wall breakers, right? Just like fortress destroyers. They're like these old, just these gigantic engines, siege engines.
Yeah.
And then gives them to Perturabo. And he's like, here, you're going to need these to take down Horus. Use them for good. He goes, I give you these with only one condition, and that's you put them to good use. To which Perturabo promises that he will.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's awful. He trusted you.
Perturabo didn't lie.
I know.
He did tell the truth.
From his,
from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view, yes.
So,
as this episode goes, I didn't have too much of an opinion on his personality, but as this episode goes on, I am just, fuck Perturabo. God damn. Anyway, carry on.
So Isfan 5 happens, and Perturabo is kind of left out in the dark for a while. He's sent out to fight. He's sent out to take the world of, it's called Hydra Cordatus, which is a very important world. That might be worth its own thing sometime. We'll see.
Yeah.
But after he takes that world, he's not really left to do anything. And so he's approached by Fulgrim. We covered a lot of this in the Fulgrim episode.
Right. Okay.
The Angel Exterminatus.
Yeah.
Fulgrim comes to him and says, hey, I have found this blueprint that'll take us through the Eye of Terror to find these really old Eldar weapons called the Angel Exterminatus that can just like wipe out universes. Perturabo the whole time is kind of not buying into this. And he even flats out tells Fulgrim at the beginning of this, he's like, there will be a point in this little adventure of ours where you'll actually tell me what's going on, and you're going to underestimate me just like everybody does, and it's going to cost you, but okay, let's go. And he gets Fulgrim, and one of the ways he's able to suss this out is he gets Fulgrim to agree to a bunch of shit that he's just like, really? He's like he goes, all right, when we get there, I take complete control of the weapons, and I'm the only one that's allowed to decide how and when they're used. Not me, not you, not Horus, not anybody, just me. And Fulgrim's like, yeah, sure, no problem. And he's just like,
sure.
Perturabo was like, yeah, okay, you would just agree to that. So that's how he's kind of able to suss out that Fulgrim's full of shit.
Okay,
It's
interesting.
like all these Fulgrim's too eager.
Neat. That reminds me of a scene from Peaky Blinders with Alfie talking to like an Italian mafia boss. And at the end of the scene, he's just like, well, you just made a deal without a negotiation, didn't you?
Yeah.
He's like, you really are here to fuck us up, aren't you? Yeah, neat. Cool. I love those kind of moments.
And so they go into the Eye of Terror. And this book is really long. It's actually really good. It might be one that's worth actually covering.
Doing a book review of.
Yeah, there's
Cool.
a bunch of cool shit in it. Fulgrim gets shot in the head by a sniper rifle. Good.
Good.
There's a lot of stuff in the Eye of Terror stuff. So there's a lot of demons, a lot of
Neat. Nice.
So Fulgrim is using Perturabo to get through this impregnable fortress that they're stored in. And this is where Perturabo, actually, I think it's a little bit before they get to the fortress, where Perturabo just beats the shit out of Fulgrim. It's just like, I know you're lying. Wham! Tell me the truth. Wham! You think you're going to be able to pull this on me? Wham! Who the fuck do you think you're dealing with? Wham! Just like... just absolutely beating the hell out of while dressing him down about like how dumb Fulgrim is. Which is one of the only times that like Perturabo goes full arrogant where I'm like, get him!
Right.
He is a fucking idiot!
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. If there's anyone who you'd root for in that scenario, it's against Fulgrim. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that moment by itself actually made me soften on Perturabo quite a bit.
He came around to him a little bit. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
Sometimes it works.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's willing to do something about it.
Right.
When it's somebody like when it's so there's a level that he just can't stand.
Yeah, it's like instead of sulking about it and
Yeah.
just complaining about it in your own little brain, you're doing something about it. Yeah, taking some action.
And that's why I said in the later, actually, the more villainous Perturabo becomes, the more I find that I agree with his actions.
Okay.
With his line of thinking, he kind of drops a lot of this
petulance.
like me, and starts getting down into it.
Yeah.
And so the Angel Exterminatus actually ends up being Fulgrim's ascendancy into demonhood, right? That is the Angel Exterminatus. All of the stories we're actually talking about
him.
Yeah.
Oh my
the
God.
prophecy of Fulgrim becoming possessed.
The dangers of prophecy and fiction.
Well, Fulgrim knew that. That was his game the whole time.
Fulgrim knew. Okay.
Yeah, he was seeking it.
Oh, I see.
And
okay.
He was
Tricksy little fucker.
using Perturabo.
Gotcha.
And he actually ended up laying a death curse on Perturabo.
Really?
Yeah. The exact nature of it I can't find, but it leads. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Perturabo is a demon prince now.
Yes.
Although there are some people that are fighting that and claiming that he's in a dreadnought, a gigantic Primarch-sized dreadnought,
Really?
because of this curse that Fulgrim's laid on him.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't think so. I think he's a demon Primarch. I
Right.
wish he wasn't. I wish they hadn't have taken him that route because I like the idea of there being a Traitor Primarch that's not a demon.
Right. Yeah.
But it does fit his personality. Anybody that doesn't think it does. Like, he does all kinds of stuff that he regrets instantly afterwards because he throws a hissy fit.
Yeah.
I can see him giving into chaos on a whim and then just being all me about it later.
Right. But there wouldn't be any takesies backsies with that.
No, there
No.
wouldn't. But anyway, after that, Perturabo plays not a whole lot. He doesn't get a whole lot to do until they hit Terra. Or Terra.
Right.
rather.
Yeah.
And the Siege of Terra is really when Perturabo kind of steps to the forefront against all of his brothers. Because up until that point, you have Fulgrim and Mortarion and Angron that are really kind of pushing this sweep towards, Terra. You have the Sons of Horus that are really, they're the spear tips, so they're punching through. You have Conrad who's holding off the Dark Angels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when they get to the Siege of Terra, Horus basically puts Perturabo in charge. He's like, you wanted to be in charge. You were in charge of the biggest siege in history.
Ah.
And then proceeds to not listen to him like ever.
Oh. Damn.
That's his specialty.
I know. So Perturabo actually does a really good job. I would say that it is more because of Perturabo than the other Primarchs that they're able to push them all the way as far as they do. But Perturabo starts to notice that Horus isn't taking like the most direct routes to wipe out bastions. He's not supplying things properly. He's really kind of fudging this up, but it seems to be deliberate. And Perturabo really figures out that what Horus is doing is he's not trying to win so much as he's trying to bleed the Emperor dry.
Huh.
Like, Horus doesn't want to win. I mean, he does want to win, but he
Right.
wants to destroy everything that the Emperor has. And Perturabo's like, that's not a war we can win.
That's too much.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like, he realizes that it's become more about personal destruction than it is about the throne.
Right.
And so Perturabo really kind of has a moment where he lays into Horus about it.
Okay. Interesting.
And he's like, you are letting, and it's kind of funny that Perturabo is accusing somebody of being petulant,
I
but
was gonna say.
it's why he recognizes it when when Logar doesn't, when Mortarion doesn't, when obviously Angron doesn't.
Right.
Angron wouldn't recognize anything.
Right.
It's why he's able to pick it out.
Because it's kind of like that projection sort of deal. It's like, I see this in you.
Yep.
You know?
And
Yeah.
so
Because he's one to talk, because isn't he kind of spiteful about the palace to begin with? Wasn't he supposed to he wanted to build the fortress on Terra, but someone else got it, so it pissed him off.
He has a very strong hatred of Rogaldorn from the
It was
Imperial
Rogaldorn.
Fist.
Yeah, okay.
and you would
Yep,
think because
makes sense.
some people say like, oh, they're so much alike. You think they get along? I'm like, actually, one's a fortifier and the other one's a siege crafter. Like, to me, that makes perfect sense that they don't like each other.
Right. They're kind of in opposition as far as what their specialties are.
Right.
Yeah.
Perturabo does like to build more than Rogol does. Rogol likes to fortify.
Right.
But because Perturabo wears panties 2 sizes too small, he sees that Rogol as fortified and he's just like, how dare he? It's what I should have done. And it's just like, dude, why do you even care? You're going to destroy all this shit anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But so as kind of like all of this comes to a head, Horus puts Mortarion in charge, fires Perturabo, and is like, Perturabo, you're not doing this the way I want to, so Mortarion's in charge.
Okay.
Which then causes Perturabo to pack up the Iron Warriors and abandon the Siege of Terra entirely.
Oh, he fucking left.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't sign on to fight a war this way. This is not the way this is supposed to be done. You are screwing this up. We have no chance of winning. I'm not doing this. I'm gone.
I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
Yes. Thank you. I was trying to find a good way to articulate that very thought myself. Little bastard.
Yeah, but because of that, he actually avoids the fall of Horus, and it actually avoids most of the scouring that happens afterwards, which allows the Iron Warriors to be one of like 3 legions that are still intact.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Yep, that works. Yeah.
Like his whole argument, I actually don't see this as a pick up my ball and leave. He's like, we cannot win this way.
Okay. Okay. Fair
Like
enough.
for him, it was a pure. This wasn't like obviously he was upset, and it was putting Mortarion in charge. But I think more than that hurting his feelings, I think he's like, well, Mortarion can't win this.
Right.
We can't win this. We have the Ultramarines and the Wolves like racing towards us on our asses.
Yeah. And clearly, like, Mortarion is able to be baited into a one-on-one fucking fight in the middle of all this bullshit.
Right, because he ends up getting baited into fighting fucking
Yeah. So I guess
Garrow
Perturabo was right.
Yeah, so he logicked that it was a lost cause.
Yeah. I mean,
Fine.
trust me, there's no small amount of him, I'm sure, that was like, well, if I can't be in charge. But I mean, he was like, we cannot win this.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
And so he's like the first one to BTF to get the fuck out of there, to just run.
Good for him. And that's what leads to kind of the rest of his little career. Okay. Yep. That's me now. That's what I'm getting at.
Hey, Eric, it's your turn.
All right.
Go Eric.
Go me.
You've almost got this.
Almost. So, after the Siege of Terra, I want to say Terror too, and Horus's death, spoiler alert, he goes...
We're just going to pretend like that never happened.
Yes.
Perturabo goes to... What never happened?
You're talking to the mysterious 4th member of our table.
Oh, okay. Is that what you guys are trying to look at?
Well, we were wondering what the hell you're pointing at.
Oh, when I clicked my pen, a bug landed over there, and it made me think I shot something out of the pen. So I was like, what the fuck are we... Okay.
Like, as he's talking, he turns to just some random corner of the table and starts, like, motioning with his pen. And so me and Jerry are, like, looking over, like, what the fuck?
What's happening?
Which then I started trying to look at what they were looking at.
And so we're like, he keeps looking over there. And so me and Jerry were looking at each other, then looking at you, and you were looking over there. So we kept looking back over there.
Just a big circle jerk.
Yeah.
Nobody knowing what's going on.
Yeah. Us all just looking at this little...
This corner of the room with nothing in it. I felt like I was having a stroke.
I know. I'm like trying to talk, and I'm like, what the fuck are they looking at?
We're all getting paranoid. Paranoid like Perturabo.
Oh my God.
Thanks for bearing with us through that.
Yeah.
We made it.
It's a good thing we don't have cameras, because like me and Jerry were just like looking at each other like, what the fuck?
So we all looked crazy to each other there.
Oh my God, yeah. We thought you were going nuts. You thought we were going nuts. We're all looking at this corner of the room with the...
Okay.
That was so funny, but it's only going to be funny to us.
What do you think, Bug?
Yeah, thanks, Bug.
Man, this little bug fucked up this is a high-class production we got going on here.
Yeah, little gnat fucked us all up.
Oh, man.
Okay, so after all that, the Siege of Terra, Horus's death, the gnat on the wall, Perturabo went to a planet called Sebastus 4 and captured it. And on it, he built what he called the Eternal Fortress, which was really a trap for the
Ultramarines. Or no, the Imperial Fists.
Imperial Fists. Okay. Yes.
Yep.
So I was right. I was like, did I get that right? Yes.
Imperial
Fists
Fists
is correct. So he builds this fortress, and it is, it's got the keep in the middle, and it's surrounded by 20 square miles of towers and bunkers and minefields and tunnels.
It's also designed like a labyrinth, so that you have to double back and go under and go up. And
yeah, so this thing is just full of kill traps in the shape of an eight-pointed star. And the fortress itself is of no strategic value at all. This fortress doesn't matter. He doesn't give a shit about it. It's all about the trap.
Yep.
So Dorn shows up with his fleet and his people and starts to orbitally... I'm going to go a little bit more into detail with this battle than what we probably typically do, because I thought it was actually kind of brilliant on Perturabo's part. Dorn's doing an orbital bombardment is how I will word that. And everybody on the ground just kind of takes cover. It effectively
Does nothing.
Yes. Then the Iron Warriors send down their Space Marines, and
You mean the Imperial Fists?
Yeah. Sorry, the Iron Warriors waited it out. Yes, the Imperial Fists send down their Space Marines, and they've got weapon silos that are firing up at them. They're forced to drop down while taking a bunch of fire, and then once they've all gotten down there, Perturabo blows the silos and sends a bunch of debris up into the atmosphere and cuts off most of the communications between the ground and the fleet in orbit.
Ooh.
Now, up in the sky, the fleet is attacked by Perturabo's fleet, which is loaded up with Space Marines. And Dorn's fleet had just sent all theirs on the ground. Perturabo's fleet is ready for boarding operations. And so they're kind of kicking ass up there. They've got the upper hand, more or less, even though the fleets were really more or less on equal footing with each other. On the ground, it's going even worse, I would say. Dorn's forces are just falling for the trap. They're getting lured in. Perturabo is having his forces like feign withdrawals to lead them towards preset traps and stuff like that.
So you know what's interesting about this fight? Dorn knew all this would happen.
He did?
He knew it was a trap of no strategic value whatsoever.
And he did this anyway?
Yeah.
Just let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like, didn't this like basically set his Legion back like for 19 years or some shit after that? Like,
Yep.
Good
And he knew it would too.
Prideful bastard.
No.
No?
So Gilliman had instituted the Codex Astartes, which broke everybody up into legions, into chapters.
Uh-huh.
Dorn knew that the Imperial Fists would never be broken up into chapters. They would rebel. And so he chose, instead of having them possibly turn traitor, he was going to reduce his legion down to chapter strength and give them honorable deaths as Imperial Fists.
Oh, fuck me.
What a waste.
No kidding.
No,
'Cause this
it's
is
not
bad.
a way. Well, they would have turned traitor. It would have been another traitor legion.
Yeah, but I mean, just like,
Okay.
Yeah.
if things
Well-
were not like
Well,
that.
the waste is Dorn not telling Gilliman to stuff it,
Yeah. No
Mhm.
kidding.
Yeah.
because some
Yeah.
of them did.
Because they lost a lot of life that day.
Yeah.
Or day. 6 days and more, to be exact. By the end of 6 days, these guys were like out of ammo and fighting with knives and using their fallen brothers as cover.
Yeah.
And they were split up. They were basically like individually fighting
Yes.
everything. So, Jesus, that's wow. That kind of blows my mind that he went in knowing that this would happen anyway,
It would
because
be
it
that
sounded
bad.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one called the Iron Cage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I missed. That's such a key point to this. It is called the Iron Cage because Dorn said, I'm going to dig Perturabo out and bring him back to Terra in an iron cage.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it became known as the Iron Cage incident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And they even, when they arrived, they did make it to the keep eventually. And that's where the Space Marines down there realized that it was just
There's nothing.
useless. Yeah. Well, eventually, after about three weeks of this, the Ultramarines showed up to save the day. But Perturabo, and that overbalances the battle. Perturabo can't
Take on
on both of them, so he just focuses his efforts on making sure that the Imperial Fists can't get out and can't retrieve their fallen brethren and stuff. Like he's just denying them as much as he can instead of actually trying to win the battle.
Yeah. It's a battle of attrition.
It is, and he recognized that and did it accordingly. Man, like I thought this was brilliant of him. I can't believe that. Yeah, Dorn knew going in.
Well, so that happens in the Siege of Terra a couple of times.
Oh, really?
It is my opinion that they have proven conclusively Dorn is smarter than Perturabo.
Yeah. Okay. Which would make sense to me now, having a better understanding of his personality and stuff. But yeah, reading this, I was like, my God, this guy pulled a fast one on Dorn. It really blows my mind.
Well, he did. I mean, obviously, I don't think he knew like, oh, this was going to happen and this was going to happen.
Right.
This was going to happen. but he knew it was going to be a massacre of his
Yeah.
legion.
He knew it was a trap.
Yep.
Yeah.
He knew it was a
Yeah.
trap and that they weren't going to get Perturabo
Right.
there.
So Ultramarines come in, so forth and so on. Perturabo is able to flee the planet, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Along with the Iron Warriors end up losing 400 of their dead and wounded to the Imperial Fists, which means 400 gene seed.
Needs to be replaced.
Yep. And Perturabo uses that gene seed to sacrifice it to, I think, just Chaos Undivided.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is the exchange that ascended him to
Demonhood.
Demon Primarchhood. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Demon Princehood. So now he's a demon prince, which nobody seems to know what he looks like as a demon prince.
No, he's
That's
in
not-
this giant sarcophagus.
Okay. And that's all we really see.
There
or know.
are pictures.
Okay,
but you
that'll be
can't-
good. Oh, okay. So we can even see his face in that. So he's not like giant T-Rex guy or half snake man or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
This is more like what he looks like now.
Is that his artificer armor?
I actually believe that's his demon armor.
So now he's a demon prince and he withdraws into the Eye of Terror, somewhat ironically, and he establishes the Fortress of Hate on a demon world called
Midregard.
Thank you. I couldn't read my own damn writing. Midregard.
That reminds me of that mountain that Vulcan and the Emperor had their salamander hunting contest on. Doom Mountain or something.
Yeah,
Mountain of Death.
Mountain of
Something like
Death.
that.
Yeah, Mount Death.
Mount Death. Yep. So he hangs out there a lot. In 400 M32, Perturabo showed up at a forge world called Toil. I believe that's how it's pronounced. It's spelled like toil. And he uses Nurgle powers to create this highly contagious curse. And what the curse does is it spreads and changes things for about 8 days before suddenly just like, I guess like giant coils erupted from the ground. A demon engine started coming out of these coils. It's a forge world, and their factories grew legs and started crawling across the planet and attacking things.
What?
Yeah, the whole whole factories. It's like an infection of like machinery from Nurgle.
Yeah, Perturabo is figuring out ways to use the Chaos God's powers in more
Techno.
esoteric
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. And of course, this just eventually wipes out all life on Toil.
He's actually even created techno Nurglings.
Techno Nurglings? Neat. You guys are seeing them right now. Cool.
Man, I hope not.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope not. On screen. If you're seeing one in real life, fucking run. Or quarantine. I don't know which.
Just burn everything.
Burn everything. Yeah. Fire. There we go. You heard it from Jerry. Fire is the answer.
Burn the plague.
So, Perturabo, that was one of his, one of the things that he did. Another one was he helped out he helped out Abaddon in the Black Legion during the 10th Black Crusade by opening up a warp portal for them. I'm not sure what the context of that was, but he's helping out demons here and there too. There was another one that he kind of teamed up with for a minute. Vashtor, who is apparently a demigod of inventors. So it does kind of make sense that they would get along.
Yeah, I believe Vashtor is one of the up and coming story things. He's a lesser demon, but he's trying to become a new chaos god.
Okay.
He's working with Abaddon to become a chaos god of Undivided.
Okay.
I
And
think that's pretty new.
that might be his. Yeah. Okay. Because I didn't find too much on him.
Vashtor seems to be a new guy. It's just shown up.
And he's got so they kind of collaborate on like tech projects and stuff like that together, which does kind of make sense to me, knowing what I know about Perturabo and about this demon being like, I'm for the inventors. I'm going to be a chaos god of inventors, apparently, is what he wants. But Perturabo even has gave him some Iron Warriors to help Vashtor assault the Rock. Which
that's the fortress of the lion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's, helping out demons
Good luck.
as he goes. Right.
Is it called Pride Rock?
The circle.
No, it's called The Rock.
It's called The Rock.
Welcome to The Rock. Goddamn good movie.
And I think that was during the 13th Black Crusade. I could be wrong, or after it. A lot of these notes now are after the 13th Black Crusade. The only other thing that I found on him, other than just generally, he spends a lot of his time studying the defenses of the Segmentum Obscurus, which I think is in close proximity to the Eye of Terror.
It is. So the Segmentum Obscurus is the section of the Imperium that is segregated by the Great Tear.
Okay. Yes.
I believe it's where the Blood Angels are. So fuck
okay.
off.
Yeah. So, but
Leave Dante alone. He's got enough going on.
He's not. He's establishing techno-cultist, like this techno-cultist spy ring, and studying all their defenses. And I think eventually even moving into like coordinating like thousands of different armies.
I
in
believe
assaults on their more heavily fortified worlds and stuff like that. So this is where I was kind of like, he's a bit like Sauron. He reminds me a lot of Sauron. Ooh. Sauron's early, comparison time right quick. Sauron's early days, whereas it like this kind of artisan, crafty sort of guy he wanted to make and create. And
he's the one that taught the dwarves how to like combine two alloys together and make metal. Right? That wasn't
I
him.
quit. Fuck Rings of Power. All right. In case any of you listeners were wondering how I felt about that. So the only other real encounter that I know of beyond that was an incident called the War of Rust and Ruin, which was a fight between him and Mortarion.
Ooh.
Their two armies. So it kind of made sense to me. I was kind of like, why would he be fighting Mortarion? But looking at their history a little bit more, it kind of does make sense. So Mortarion, he wanted to invade this planet called Dissactus, where he believed this something called the Temple of Ascension was hidden on. So he starts invading it. Perturabo confronts him, and they have a battle on this planet. And I think, the two Primarchs have like a 7-hour duel between each other or something like that, a multi-hour duel. They're doing pretty well, but Mortarion's corrupting...
Starting to eat away the metal.
Yeah, they get the... I found a name that I liked, the Metal Phage Pox. Which, just tears the metal down, or rusts it, probably.
I think we may have covered that on a Mortarion episode.
Did we? We probably did. And then the diseases and stuff, working on the Space Marines and Perturabo. So just the longer the battle went on, the more of an advantage that Mortarion had.
And he probably always will.
Yeah. And so Mortarion ended up winning the day there. And that's pretty much all I've got on Perturabo after.
Although I'm sure he's probably going to be making more appearances as they're gearing stuff up.
Yeah. So, but that's what we got so far on him.
Oh, and that's where he rests.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry, you got a list of war gear for us, pal.
Yes, I do.
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about his Artificer armor.
Okay.
Called the Logos.
It's a big chunk of shit, too, if you see it.
Yeah. Cataphractii pattern Terminator armor. It's got heavy layers of ceramite. It makes him very much like a tank.
Yeah,
like a walking tank.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, he's like a Primarch equivalent of a Terminator. Like,
gotcha.
How the Terminator troops are for the other Space Marines. He's like that.
The Primarch version of that. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Big.
This armor is equipped with like a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's got weapons out the ass. I think the only one that's probably got more than that is Ferrus Manus with his Medusan carapace.
He's got a teleport Homer.
Mm-hmm.
So allows him to accurately teleport from like ship to planet.
Yeah. It allows him to do tactical strikes with using himself as a lock-in.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He's got a Cortex controller, which allows him to control robots, like battle robots and stuff. So he can like...
Oh.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have like personal bodyguards. They're called the Iron Circle, and they're automatons because he doesn't trust his legions enough to be automatic.
Ah, neat. This makes sense.
But yeah, he doesn't trust any of his legion to protect him, so he uses...
He can't do it as good as my inventions can.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which
makes sense.
Is more or less true.
Yeah, okay.
Because, I mean, they're twice the size of him. They're like his size.
Oh, God. Okay. Jesus. Primarch-sized automatons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Also in this armor is a Nuncio Vox, which is
Radio.
It's a radio. And they're, it's less jammable than regular radio communications. And so like if they would lose communications a regular way, he has a radio so that he can communicate with his troops and siege engines and stuff. There's also a Cognis Signum array, which is an array of sensory devices.
Oh yeah. So you can tell that Perturabo has a lot of gear because just look at the stuff on his head.
Oh yeah, all the things wired in.
The cables.
Yeah,
That's all the different stuff that he's controlling in his
that makes
suit.
sense. Okay.
As far as weapons goes, he has Forge Breaker,
which is the hammer that was made by Fulgrim for Ferrus Manus. It was given to Perturabo
by Horus.
By Horus. Whoa, that's kind of fucked up.
Yep. Fulgrim gave it to Horus as a symbol of his loyalty, and then Horus gave it to Perturabo.
Oh, that was a beautiful moment shared between the two of them that got corrupted by these two fuckers.
Okay. Hot, sweaty, intimate moment. Yeah, we come.
Yeah.
Shirtless,
So
sweating,
good. Yeah,
the clanging, the clapping,
the banging. Got the music. Moving on.
On his wrist, he had a wrist-mounted combi bolter.
Yeah, double-barreled bolter.
Yeah, it was armor piercing, and it used the biomass as thermal fuel. So it would catch on fire and then burn because it was burning your flesh. Really,
use you as the fuel in the fire.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah,
that's fucked up. After it penetrates the armor to get to all that meaty burnability.
Mm-hmm. Also frag grenades.
Yeah, oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. Why not?
And he also had a Tormentor tank. It was a Shadow Sword super heavy tank.
Whoa.
It was modified so that they could fit him in it, as well as his robot guards that you were talking about.
The Iron Circle.
Yeah.
Ooh, so it's a big tank.
Yeah.
That's a gigantic tank.
Yeah. Shadow Sword super heavy tank.
Super heavy.
You'll find a picture of it, maybe.
Yeah, if we found one, it'll be up.
Yep.
Yeah. Meh.
So yeah, that's what I got.
That's a lot.
Hefty loadout. Good Lord.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a lot more stuff, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the list of gear is.
Oh yeah, no kidding. He wouldn't leave it at just that. He's probably got several options too, based on what he's planning on doing, and yeah. Lehman just needs a fucking sword.
A sword and a spear.
Sword and a spear.
And two wolves, Gary and Frankie.
That's true. But he also chills with them. They just come with him by default.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good boys.
All right, well that's it for Perturabo. Final thoughts on him. All that petulant stuff about Perturabo is true. He is incredibly selfish.
Yeah.
He's snotty, he's bratty, he's sarcastic. You have to wonder though about the mind that's capable of enough empathy to create wondrous works of art for other people.
Yeah.
For instance, one of the things that I talked about was Perturabo and Fulgrim. Perturabo built this giant amphitheater for Fulgrim to pitch his Angel Exterminatus play on. And I mean, it was this gigantic Colosseum thing. Perturabo wanted Fulgrim to use it. Fulgrim wanted to leave it exactly as it was so that it would be preserved and
people could look at
a
it.
Monument. And that actually pissed Perturabo off, but he ended up being dismissive and he says, whatever, it's yours, use it however you want. But it's just I feel bad for Perturabo that he's born with a mindset where he wants to create things that people enjoy. He has inside of him this desire to create joy, but it's corrupted by this ego that insists that he gets credit for it.
Yeah. And the right kind of credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has to be very specifically the way he
on his terms.
Yeah. Everything has to be on his terms. Otherwise, it's kind of like he realizes he can create such great things, so everything he does is great. And so the type of appreciation he wants, well, that's great appreciation. That's not normal. I don't know. I'm 50-50 with Perturabo, really.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you. It's the more evil he got, the more I kind of liked his character better.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have the disdain for him like I do with Mortarion, where I'm like, you're just a whiny bitch, bro. You are a bitch from the start, and you a bitch when you ending.
Yep.
Perturabo was a bitch when he started out, but the older he got, I think the more he realized it was a him.
A him issue. Yeah. Just healthier.
Hopefully.
Although,
Who knows?
doesn't come across that way as, you're joining chaos gods, and
Well,
leading armies against.
he believed that he was unforgivable. That was the only side left to him.
I think that probably started when he genocided his planet.
It did. That was the moment where he was convinced that he couldn't be forgiven. Even though we know that's not true. What I believe is the Emperor told Conrad that Cruz told Tom Cruise that if he ever stopped running, ever, one time, just stopped running, the gay would catch him.
It'll get him.
Just snatch him up bald-headed. Find out that Katie Holmes actually didn't have a dick. Terrible. But no, the Emperor told Cruz, Kurz.
That's going to be so fun to edit.
Damn it.
Run away, Tom.
Told Kurz that none of them are beyond salvation, which is strange because some of them are dead.
Yeah. But
also, I think he's fine. I think if the Emperor wanted to, or if they were open to it, he could find their souls in the warp. And which I'm still hoping for a reborn loyalist Kurz that's got like the powers of the warp. That would be wicked. Jerry, what are your thoughts on Perturabo?
Oh, I found his story pretty tragic, kind of.
Yeah, you were kind of saying that earlier.
Yeah, how he had a lot of good things going for him that he chose not to see the opportunity in that.
Kind of squandered it.
Yeah, he squandered it.
Yeah, he had his sister. If he had nobody else, he could have clung to her as somebody that really cared about him and would have given him honest advice, but he didn't.
He dug into that paranoia and then chose not to connect with anybody.
Yes. Actively chose to hold himself above even his brothers who were as good or better than him in things. It is sad, though. He had a lot of the Primarchs, he probably had some of the most potential.
Oh, yeah. Definitely had a ton of potential, especially just being having such a range of interests that you were actually really good at. I know I'm ragging him for his pride and stuff like that, but he was good at what he did.
Which was a lot.
Yeah, which was a lot of things. No, there was a lot of potential in him. So I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point. It is pretty tragic.
And Eric, your final.
Yeah. Definitely fuck Perturabo.
Yeah. Listen, there's nothing that changes that.
Yeah, I do agree. It is tragic, and there's more to him than just the meme of him being some sort of brat and stuff. So, yeah, no, I kind of agree. It's it is tragic that he couldn't get past his own hang-ups enough to self-analyze and kind of understand his issues. Damn, this guy just gets me grinding my own teeth at him. It's he could have done so much good if he could have just gotten out of his own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And quit blaming everybody else for what was in his own head and his own internal feelings.
And that is kind of the thing. And that is the heart of the tragedy, is that if I don't know, if you could just take responsibility for yourself, Perturabo, and conduct your life that way, you wouldn't be in so much torment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tormenting
of your
others.
own making. Yeah.
Yeah.
And tormenting others.
Brutally wasting lives.
Yeah. If he could have just, instead of, because you can't do anything about what other people are doing when it comes to so if you're blaming everybody else, then you're putting yourself in a position where you just can't do anything about that. And so you're just left to suffer until you fall to chaos.
Yeah. Now you're sucking the dick of a demon.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Good. Yeah. So good job, Purdy.
His sister used to call him Bo.
Oh, Bo. Oh,
she was the only one that would call him that.
Probably the only one who dared. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good Lord.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up here. Eric, where can they find us at?
Okay. If you type @CultTalkNet into Google, you will find us at Cult Talk Net. It's across the board. It takes you to our link tree, which is a good place to get to our other shows, such as Cult of Campbell, where we do movie reviews, usually centered around Bruce Campbell.
Cult of Russell is going to start kicking up here in time. I think we're going to lead in with Christmas with the Christmas Chronicles,
Oh,
which man, goddamn, does Kurt Russell
Uh-huh.
make such a good Santa Claus? He actually, Tim Allen was my go-to Santa Claus, the first one, not those other weird ones.
Right.
But Kurt Russell really did take the place of like, nope, that is my headcanon Santa right there.
That's the that's the Santa that he's a good Santa.
Oh my god, I love him as Santa. So good.
You can also find Cult Talks Conspiracy, where they talk. It's Bailey and Ty. They talk about all sorts of cool stuff like UFOs and other various different conspiracy theories. It's a lot of fun.
Reptilians,
to.
aliens,
Yeah.
cryptids.
I think giants are coming up soon.
Giants, I think,
Yeah.
might be coming up.
So a lot of a broad range of interests there that you'll be able to find. Just check them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We also have merchandise.
Merchandising.
Yeah. Cult Shop Net, I think, is the name that
Cult Talk Net, the coloring book. Cult Talk Net, the t-shirt. Cult Talk Net, the flamethrower. The kids love that one.
Oh yeah, totally. The parents not so much.
Hot seller.
It's a hot seller. God love it. Nice. And of course, all the Culttober stuff from last month is still up. There's its own channel and all sorts of cool episodes.
It'll probably end up getting horror drops on. It'll probably become like our official horror channel.
Yeah, where we just drop all sorts of like horror film reviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, horror films, books, movies, TV shows.
Yeah. So join it now. It's going to be building over time. You guys can also, if you're especially if you're listening on the podcast, but I think it's in the YouTube too. You can. There's a link to where you can support the show for as little as much as you want, apparently. So be sure to check that out. It can go. The $3 I think is the asking, but I think you can go lower than that. Like anything helps. Help us achieve our dream of someday breaking even at Cult Talk Net. And of course, leave us a like or a comment. If you can't think of anything to say in the comments,
just type in for the algorithm.
For the algorithm.
We are 100% fine with that.
I friggin' love it. You will get a heart from us, guaranteed.
And a comment.
And a comment back. So, yeah, that's, I think, everything. That's enough. Yeah.
And if you have any questions for us and you reach out to us on Facebook, make sure you tag which host or which show that it's directed for, because there are multiple hosts, multiple shows. When you ask a question, if you want somebody specific to answer, make sure you let us know who you want to answer.
Yes, because that Facebook is the whole of Cult Talk Net. So
and the comment that made me do that there on our there was an episode. If you're listening to us, there was an episode where we did werewolves for Cult Talks Conspiracy, and I pitched the idea that the Beast of Gévaudan might have been a lion. Apparently, that's in a movie called The Brotherhood of the Wolf. No, I haven't seen it. That was all my idea, and the sons of bitches took it. I'm going to sue. Pretty sure it came out like 96. Yeah, fuck them.
That's fine.
What's the statute of limitations on that?
Fuck them. This is America. We can sue for anything. I'll sue the statute of limitations. We'll start there.
Oh, there we go. Now we're
Statute of
talking.
limitations, statute of liberty.
We'll get up under that skirt.
Okay. So I think that about covers it. Anything from you guys?
That's it. Just join us on our next episode, which will be our Thanksgiving special, where we talk about things that love the delicacy of long pig.
Yes. So with that, I've been Eric.
I've been Ben.
And I'm going to go watch the Olympics.